It's true.
And the people we met, I got 2 slides of these. So each of these people were doing their own tours, had their own separate stories, and that's probably my most favorite part about a bike tour is meeting people and their stories. And so like each of these folks, like I forget his name, he was riding through France in the black and white picture, and he does this every year to kind of go explore different parts of France. And he's a Frenchman, and he's like about this high. And this picture was funny. He was smoking, and he's like, "Oh, I don't show the picture of the cigarette. I don't want my wife to find out." Yeah. So that's why he has his hand behind his back right there.
Picking up bad habits.
Yeah, on the road by himself.
On the road.
And then the top right are 2 couples that we met over in France that were traveling from the UK back to New Zealand. And they were going to go through Spain, Portugal, and then South America before they head back into New Zealand. But really good people. They have a podcast, actually, that talks about their journey that I've been listening to. And really, really good stuff there. And yeah, I think they're in New Zealand now. I think it's the last time I checked. But there was actually families traveling. So this was a German couple and their little boys.
That's
So
cute.
the biggest of the boys had his own bike, and he would do 40, 50 miles a day with his parents on the side. And the little guy was in the back of there was the other bike in the back. But he was like, they would do 50 miles, get to camp, and he still had energy to play with his little brothers running around.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So we were so blown away by his energy. I mean, yeah, it was great just to see that, And then, they introduced their kids to bike touring to see the world this way.
How cool is that?
It's so cool, right? I mean, if I had that opportunity to do it, I could totally do it.
So as opposed to Disneyland.
I'm sorry?
I said as opposed to Disneyland.
Yes,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? This
It's
is-
real world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this couple was from Belgium, and they were just riding from Belgium through Hungary, and they were just going to end it over in Hungary. And they saw us, and they were so excited. They were like, "Wow, where are you guys going?" And then we were just telling them about the trips, and they just wanted to get a picture with us. Yeah. And of course, our host from the Serbian guest house, he made us, all the meals, dinner, breakfast.
Wow.
Gave us beer. It was just great. And then another person from Belgium. He was actually very new to the trip, so I think the next day when we rode with him, he couldn't sit in his seat for long because he was having saddle sore issues.
Oh.
And so he eventually started fading while we kept on going. And so we were like about 2 weeks into our trip, 2 or 3 weeks into the trip. He was just started, so a lot of his gear was still brand new and everything. So, and he was going to go around the world, so I don't know if he did or not. And then bottom left, we have a couple from England. And they were a hoot. We hung out with them for a night and just had a really good meal in France. And they kind of did the exact same route that we did, but they got there a little bit later. And of course, there's a German couple who we met also in France, and rain or shine, they're on the road. So didn't matter if it rained, so they just kept on going. And of course, I had side trips on this trip. You could recognize the right one. We took a train into Paris for 1 day and just kind of walked around, hit all the spots, the Eiffel Tower, Champs-Élysées, the road. And top left is, we went to see where Leonardo da Vinci had lived in his later years of his life. So this was like his home and museum. That was his bed. And of course, bottom is in Germany, the Hofbrauhaus in Munich. So that was a side trip there, and that was an experience. A lot of beer, a lot of food.
Where did you leave your bikes when you took the train in?
Usually at the hostels, hotels.
And just locked them up.
Just lock them up, yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. So you just grab all the bags, throw, go into your room, and the bike and stuff you just lock up. Yeah, it's pretty secure from the places that we've seen.
Johnny,
Yes.
when you would camp out, where would you lock up your bike at night, or how far was it from where you camped out?
Pretty close to the tent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want to make sure both our bikes are there, and maybe a tarp on top of it,
Okay.
so people really can't see the bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are so many other people traveling by bike, especially in Germany. there were significantly more people riding their bikes across Europe. Yes.
What about bike shops during it? Did you come across a lot of them?
Oh yeah, there were a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Europe, they are very into e-bikes.
Really?
A lot of people, like if they're traveling, a lot of people are riding e-bikes because they're able to kind of go further, and they get the hotels, charge up, and they just keep on going.
Oh.
Now a lot of people are riding like what? They look at us and they think I'm crazy, like with all that weight. And they have like 2 panniers in the back, like a guy and a girl, and they would ride with their e-bikes, and that's how they travel. And it was hard to differentiate whether they're doing it long term or because they would go out for like 3 days to 1 week, and just travel and like park the car somewhere, travel there, and come back and call it a holiday, you know.
Wow.
And then our guardian angels. So these are like the people who responded to our warm showers plea. So top left was a French family that, you know, like in a matter of 2 days, gave us a place to stay at their house in right outside of a town called Desjardins, which is really close to Switzerland. Yes.
How did you guys connect?
Off of the Warm Showers app. There's a site that's called Warm Showers. Have you guys heard about that?
No.
So you join it. It's like almost like a social media thing where you sign up, have a profile, and you can either host people. You know, if you have space at home and people are passing through, you can host people, or you can ask for people to host you. Obviously, if you host more people and you have more people coming through, it validates you more. But we were able to I only had like maybe 1 or 2 reviews before they accepted mine. So a lot of people on Warm Showers are bike tourists too. So that's the other commonality when you go sign up with the site. And it's kind of like couch surfing. You guys heard of couch surfing? Yeah, Warm Showers is like couch surfing for bike tourists, kind of like that. And so the lady on the right was also a warm shower host in Slovakia, Bratislava, Slovakia. And she responded to our post like the day before too. So it was us two and a French girl that was there as well. So she hosted a bunch of us there. And so like without them, it would have been a little bit hard. I mean, we would have found a place to stay, but Warm Showers is like pretty much it's on the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warm Showers,
Yes.
plural?
.org.
Plural?
Warm Showers, yes. And then the bottom right picture, that lady saw us in France at a burger shop, and she was building her house, and she was like, "Did you need a place to stay?" I go, "Yeah, we do." And then we just threw our bikes in the back of her van. She drove us to her house and let us stay in the backyard, like nothing. And so it was just incredibly hospitable, like people were when we were on the road. And so like 2 guys, and she allowed us to stay in her backyard. And then the guy in the middle, oh my goodness, like when we get into Budapest, we were kind of lost. So this guy came by and knew a little bit of English and asked where we were going, showed him the maps and all that. And so we kind of rode with him for about 10 miles into the heart of Budapest. And when he left, the only thing we gave him that he would take was a bottle of water from McDonald's. And he was 7 miles away from his home, so he had to ride back home. And he was in his mid-70s. He looked so good and fit, and I was just talking to him about this. And he was just so great, like really friendly people around there. And especially Budapest, there's a lot of bicyclists around there too. And then the last picture is a restaurant that we saw in Austria that was like, I think they were building something at the bottom. And we just kind of went upstairs and asked the owner, like, can we stay inside? And they allowed us to kind of camp out because it was raining so much. I mean, I probably had like 2 weeks worth of rain in a row, like in the middle of the trip. So you can see it's kind of soaked and everything, but it was like a good place to kind of park our cans and bikes to dry off a little bit. Yeah. That's it. And of course, with the good, there are bads. And I mentioned a lot of times, the rain. So that picture on the left is really what looked outside of Germany, like around our camping area. It started flooding underneath. So you see like puddles of water where our campgrounds used to be right here. And then also like right outside my tent, there was like water building up. So I think if we stayed a little bit longer, it would have been a really bad situation. So flooding was an issue. We had a lot of run-ins with dogs. Not this one. This one's a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine. No, there's other dogs that were, like when you're going through Serbia and Romania, wild dogs are just all over the streets, and you just got to make sure you're paying attention. Because like we would ride next to a car, and these two dogs would just dart out from underneath the car and chase after you. So things like that happens, and like dogs like being very territorial. So the best defense for that, which we learned, was to get off your bike and just kind of put your bike between you and the dogs and walk right by them calmly. As soon
So
as
you don't
hop
try to
on-
outride them.
You don't. Yeah, unless you have a good like head start. I mean, yeah, a lot of them is like if they're close, you don't want to do that because they'll start chasing. Yeah. And then obstacles in the road on a right here. On our bike path, we actually had a tree fall on the bike path. It blocked not only us but other boats on the river right there. So there was like a whole line of boats on the other side that was waiting to get through, while we just kind of climbed over the tree and lifted all our stuff over and continued on. They had to wait for hours.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And then the little lock was just a reminder that we had an incident in Germany where Harry's electronics I was charging in the bathroom was stolen. This is iPad, iPod, battery
He left
charger.
it in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, he just left it there, had it, we thought, oh, it's Europe. It's nothing like that. It was a big campsite and everything, and so, and really had it stolen, and that's why we had a side trip to Munich, because originally we weren't going to go down to Munich. So we went and took the train to find the last Apple store east of wherever they go. Europe. Yeah.
And he was able to get a phone and get it all hooked up and.
Yep. He still had his laptop and everything.
Oh, okay.
So he just had to buy all the other accessories for it. And it was all, European. So keys to my success. So this is how I looked like before and after a haircut at Romania. And that was not cutting my hair or shaving for 2.5, 3 months.
Wow.
And so really, I just want to go through like top 10 keys to success of a bike tour. Always purchase quality product. So don't skimp out on like those panniers or whatnot, because they're going to go a long way. Your jackets, your gear, pay good money for it. Make sure you use it and be happy with it, because it's going to save your life or help you be more comfortable, piece at a time. Of course, number 2, be prepared. Safety, having your emergency kits, having things ready, your maps. We actually came to Europe without maps, and so we actually went and hunted for maps in Europe, because that's what people were telling us to do. They have a lot better maps over there than you can find over here, so that was part of the challenge. But yeah, be prepared, find your routes. You might not have places where you're going to be able to charge your devices, so maps are essential. So that was also part of number 9. Buy paper maps. Michelin's, specifically if you're going to go to Europe. Be humble. A lot of people, when you get into their town, know their language. So try to learn hello and thank you. I mean, it goes a long way, because people see that you're trying, and they'll be more likely to help you. And of course, it's something life as it unfolds. You can tell, like all these other stories, things happened, and our trip kind of changed because of that. I mean, I wanted to ride the whole thing. We didn't. That's okay. We took more train trips than I anticipated. That's fine. I mean, it's going to change. You just, roll with it. So for all bike trips, not just this one. Of course, know your limits. Know when you're not going to be able to do 100 miles that day. You're tired or whatnot. Take more breaks. Know when to call it quits. When to say, I'm going to rest. I'm not going to go anywhere. So, and number 6, look up. So a lot of us on our phones and cameras, when you get someplace, you're automatic. You take your phone out, you take your camera out, you're trying to capture it. But it's just a reminder just to put that down and just, look where you're at and just appreciate it. And I did a lot of that. I mean, it was a good balance of of both, but I know there are times where I just sit there and just kind of be part of the environment. And of course, love Google Maps. That works in Europe as well as here. And so you can find your campsites, your restaurants, whatever, all on Google Maps. And of course, I said, learn to say hello and thank you. And, of course, and smile. Yeah, that's a part of humble, smiling, and people will approach you a lot more. And then this slide is just more of an informational thing. Europe by the numbers, so all the numbers behind the trip. Yes?
Did you have type of phone service out there in Europe, or how would you get like internet or to look up Google Maps?
Wi-Fi was actually in a lot of places. They had McDonald's, so McDonald's had Wi-Fi, but we actually had a separate phone, European phone, where we bought SIM chips. So that works out very well. And so like for some of the highlights, we only biked 1903 miles when the trip. It's almost half. You know, we had 3,000 miles to go. We didn't do a lot of that, which, like I said, which isn't so bad. Average speed was only 10 miles per hour, so we weren't going fast either. So it kind of gives you an idea of like how the pace was, how many how many hours we were on the saddle, everything. This is an interesting, data slides. Yeah. Yes.
Johnny, where did you find currency exchange? How did you do that? How did that work out?
So if you sign up with Charles Schwab, they have like an investment checking account that doesn't charge you international fees. And so what you do is you deposit that amount and you can withdraw it anywhere you go. So it's a debit card.
Oh.
And you can use it as a Visa. It's a Visa card or a cash machine. Go to any cash machine, you just withdraw it. I didn't even have to go to any currency exchange places. It was all withdrawn through their
No
ATM.
charge to withdraw.
No charge withdraws, no international transaction.
Wow.
It's Charles Schwab if you guys want to sign up, and it's free too. No minimum balances.
You signed up here before you left.
Yeah. So I did a little research, like what cards to bring, how we're going to use money, and Charles Schwab was one of the better ones.
Wow.
And I believe Capital One was it that has no foreign transaction credit cards.
Yeah.
So you can look out for those.
So what was the average weight of your bike? I mean, aside from the bike,
Well,
Load.
the whole load, that was about 81 pounds.
Yeah.
81 pounds of steel. and you probably pick it up over there. I have set up exactly the same way. Yes, Carlos?
So I understand Harry didn't like heels. That's why you guys.
Yeah, that's one reason.
Okay, so.
Well, I didn't catch that. What?
Hills. He didn't like
Oh,
hills.
hills. Oh, yeah.
Well, he had 2 hip replacements,
Oh,
and he still went. And then a month before the trip, he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And he still went, and I was just so proud of how far we went.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, even though we didn't finish the whole trip, just with the circumstances, I was just like, wow, this is incredible.
Did you have any boo-boos on the trip? Like, did he have to go to the hospital or anything? Or
No, luckily.
nobody got sick?
Yeah,
or-
nobody got sick. Everybody was fine. I mean,
Not even
Yeah.
cold.
But you need the steel.
You learn all that
Buy medical insurance?
Aluminum.
I did. I bought traveler's insurance.
You hit a bump, you
$250 for like a whole time, and it covers like with the airlift and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it there now.
So I definitely have that, and Harry had his own thing, so we basically were covered when that happened. So
Wow.
yeah, and I mean, just to show you, like, and traveling, it's nice and all. You might think it's great to have someone kind of fund the trip, but he wasn't a adventurous eater, so we did not get to try like certain dishes at different countries. So he was like a little standoffish on that.
And where can I get a hamburger?
Yeah, where can I get pizza? Because pizza's everywhere in Europe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so he wants to have pizza, and I want to try like whatever local dish there is. So,
Did you have a pizza in France?
yeah, they have pizza in France.
Did they put tuna in the middle of it?
I don't know.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, he only had the margarita pizza, like the standard
jeez.
cheese
Oh,
and
yeah.
sauce, very plain.
Wow.
And so a lot of it is like really he determines a lot of the things, the decisions, like food or where we're going. So I'm fine with that, but I lose a lot of that freedom when it's
Yeah.
not me paying for it.
Right.
So
And because of his operation and stuff, and he was probably on some type of strict diet that he couldn't have.
Well, if he did, he didn't. He didn't
Pizza.
Not when he's having wine.
having wine and dessert. I mean, I don't think there was any restriction from what I could tell. All right, guys, that is it. The last part of our 3-part videos highlighting our May 7th presentation over at Stan's Bike Shop in Monrovia. So if you haven't had a chance to catch part 1 or part 2, click on the links below. There's actually part 1 here and part 2 down there. So check those out if you haven't seen it, and you'll get a better picture of the whole presentation. And subscribe to this channel and like my videos below. But yeah, check it out. Any questions, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to go over any kind of questions you have in terms of bike touring, trip planning, anything that has to do with traveling with your bike. So until next time, make sure you get out there and discover your ride.